Hello and welcome to the first podcast for the NRL Draft. Uh, Today we've got Simon and myself, the writer of the articles for draft on the website for the last 2 years. G'day, Simon.
G'day Chris, how are you, mate?
Yeah, travelling pretty well, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, really good, really good. Looking forward to the season coming around next week, and it's just so exciting draft season. I love it.
Yeah, mate. Can't wait to get stuck into the draft on the weekend. But that's really why we're doing this today, to assist the draft super coaches in preparation for their drafts on the weekend as well. And maybe those who've already drafted will have a chance to look back at maybe how they've done or to set up an early trade.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit of a shame that I couldn't get this podcast out to some people earlier. As I mentioned on Twitter, I was going to. I've been overseas earlier this year, so things have been pushed back, unfortunately. So hopefully this can still assist you guys who have drafted. But yeah, those who have got drafts coming up this weekend, hopefully this is going to help you guys as well.
Tough life, mate, jetting around Europe, but we'll we'll make up for lost time anyway.
Yeah, we'll do, mate.
All right, so we thought that the best position we might duck into is the hooker spot, as it's been quite a contentious one with the rule changes. Simon, I thought I'd throw to you, mate, and see what you thought might happen with the rule changes this season.
Yeah, well, I might just start off and say that since the hooker's become a standalone position, I feel the most questions about this position on Twitter by quite a distance. Just before I get stuck into my rankings, I just want to let everyone know that I've had a few tweaks with my hooker rankings. That I've now got Cameron Smith ranked number 2 above James Seguiaro, and also Adam Clydesdale I've included in my rankings, ranked as the number 13 hooker, one spot above Kieran Mosley. So I just thought I'd chuck those in there as a bit of a disclaimer before we kick off. But yeah, so with no further ado, I'll get stuck into these rankings. So number 1, I do have Robbie Farah. I'm pretty sure that's not really up too much debate, given that Smith is set to miss the first 3 to 4 games of the season.
Mate, not mucking around, but it's a clear top 2, isn't it? Farah, by far and away, considering Cam Smith's injury, he's the bona fide number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some people do make the argument that yes, Farah misses 5 games this year because of Origin and buys, but then I suppose you could also say that Smith is going to miss, 3 to 4 games at the start of the year as well as the 3 games over Origin. So, I mean, if you wanted to argue it, I suppose Farah will miss 5 games. Smith, could miss 6 or 7. So the value isn't as far off as maybe some people think, but even so, Farah's still number 1 in my book.
So moving on down your rankings, mate. Like I think you moved Cam Smith up to that number 2 spot. I've had him there since day dot. Just that goal kicking for an elite team. Some talk of him potentially losing some minutes or being rested. I don't think Melbourne have that luxury this year, and he'll need to be at full tilt. So for me, easy top 2 tier on their own. Those two.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of those 2 guys, pretty clear guys there to be top 2. In saying that, I've got James Seguiaro as the clear number 3. The people who have read my rankings will see that I did have him number 2. I've now seen a few of the trial reports, and Coruscant has been getting that number 14 jersey in a few of the games. So I was pretty staunch in my belief that Coruscant wouldn't play a role this season for the Penny Panthers, but my belief's starting to wane a little bit, and it's caused me to move Seguiaro down to the clear number 3 spot, just above Isaac Luke.
Yeah, in agreement, mate, with those 2. They're my next 2 in the rankings as well, and I think it's a fair indictment of how dire the hooker situation is this season, that they are the clear 3 and 4, but there's such massive question marks over them. What of interest to viewers is I I've got the turn picks in round 2 and 3, and I'm not even convinced I would take them there. So
Yeah, yeah, it's a tough spot, isn't it? You know, the the drafter of James Seguiara has really got a decision to make because he could be such a wild card. You know, like he's the sort of guy that if he gets the 80 minutes, he's a round 1 guy, but he's also got the potential to be a round 4 or 5 value in the same breath. So it's really tough.
I think you're almost, if you take either of Luke or Seguiaro, you run the risk of it could look good for certain stages, but you've always got Coruscant's never going away. Either is McInnes, and for that reason, I just don't know if it's worth the risk myself.
Yeah, yeah, it's all about where you're willing to take them, isn't it? You know, you got to ask yourself: are you the guy that's willing to take a gamble in your drafts, or are you the guy that likes to play it safe? Because if you're the guy that likes to play it safe, you probably got to pass these guys up and let somebody else take the risk, and you got to live with that decision. Just depends on what you're happy with, what sort of guy you are. If you're a risk taker or are you not?
So moving on down your rankings, mate. After the clear top 4 there, who comes next?
Yep. For me, I've got Andrew McCulloch penciled in for number 5. Um, I just think Andrew McCulloch is, well, barring a fit Jake Friend, I think he's pretty clearly the 5th guy because he's shown that he can rack up so many tackles, and also I just think 60 minutes of McCulloch, he's got that little bit of sneaky attack in him that really can set him apart from the guys who have got ranked below. Your thoughts on McCulloch?
Doesn't mind a borrowed over try. He took me to a title in our league a couple of years ago, doing such a thing. So I do have him there as well.
Yeah.
And that leads into, I believe, mate, our next pick here. I think we both have Mitch Rain coming in at 6.
Yeah, you're correct, mate. Mitch Rain at number 6. The reason for that is it just appears as though he will get the best part of 60 minutes this year. I'd be surprised if he or McCulloch got more than that this year, judging by all the reports. But
yes,
I think Mitch Rain showed last season that 60 minutes of Mitch Rain, he can still average close to that point per minute. So I've got him ranked there because I've seen it from him before, whereas guys ranked lower down, your Leiches and your Pete's. Pete's not so much, actually. That's probably a bad example because he did play the 80, but Clydesdale's probably a better example. Leisure and Clydesdale. I just haven't seen it from those guys before, so that's the reasoning why I've got Mitch Rain ranked where I do.
Solid and dependable, and Mitch Rain could actually prove one of the better value picks of the draft because I think people will sleep on him quite a long way.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
This leads to Jake Friend, I believe, is the next off the rank.
Yeah, Jake Friend comes in at number 7 for mine. Many people have questioned my ranking of Jake Friend because he is missing those. You know, he's expected to miss 8 to 10 rounds because of the infection in his shoulder from the surgery he had over the off season. And the reason I have Jake Friend ranked there is because I'm very confident that when Jake Friend does come back, you'll have a top 6 hooker because he'll get the 60 minutes and get through his usual work in defence with that little bit of attacking upside in him. I wouldn't be too afraid to take Jake Friend, mostly because the guys you're picking below him are all a bit of a much and a muchness. So my theory with Jake Friend would be to pick Jake Friend and then just start any old random hooker that's below him because they're all the same in my book, really. I mean, we can and ah over who's better, but you know, for a blanket rule, they're all pretty much similar. So my theory would be to draft Jake Friend and pick up a lesser hooker and just wait for Friend to come back and you get that instant upgrade.
What about getting 2 friends together, mate? Lots of laughs.
Yeah.
Lots of laughs.
Friends.
Nathan Friend, I think, kind of build. Grab his 45 plus points in tackles a week that he seems to put together. It may be about as boring a fantasy performance as you'd ask for, but it's not going to lose you anything. So, and what's to say that you know, Jake Friend's 45, 50 points can't match even as high up the rankings as, Isaac Luke on an average week if he doesn't hit that upside. So I do actually like the theory. And really, mate, this is the first time I've asked this, but where do you take Jake Friend in your 10-team league? How far down do you start to think that strategy should come into play?
Well, looking at the mock draft we did last week on Tuesday, I think he went in around 7. I think it was from memory. I don't have the results in front of me, but I think it was in that sort of range, 7 or 8 range. Yeah, I'm not opposed to taking him in that sort of range, to be honest. Yeah, I think that his upside towards the end of the season, when you get down to the finals in your Supercoach league, I think taking Friend for that final run is probably worth the risk, I reckon.
Mate, for me, always the tiebreaker is you back yourself in this draft stuff, and what's the team you want to have in the finals? And if I've got Jake Friend there that I've acquired in round 7, and the team above him is strong, I'm going to back myself to win the whole thing, and that's always the attitude I reckon you should take in this stuff.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I'm just sorry, I'm just looking back through the draft here on the mock to see where he actually went. So he went with the 57th overall pick in the draft, which I believe is round 6, I think.
Round 6.
So yeah, that might be slightly too high for me, but yeah, it's not. If you're a big Jake Friend guy, then I couldn't really fault you too much for it. Yeah, you just got to make sure that you justify it with the rest of your league by saying that your strategy is to play for the finals and
be prepared to maybe cop a little bit if you take him as early as 5-7. I think that is asking you. Not only there do you need Friend to be this strategy to work. Friend has actually got to be very good on the run home. I think that's pushing where you should take him, but I think anywhere sort of from 7 down, you're starting to make that strategy work for me.
Absolutely. I mean, we have to say though, like we do sound like a quite high on Jake Friend here, but he is coming back from a very serious injury, and there's no guarantee that he will get back to 60 minutes. He might only get 50. So there is still that risk with him. Don't get us wrong. So
mate, at least Mortimer's not hovering to steal his minutes like he did in previous years. Thank God for that. Pain of my existence that season. Mate, next one down for you. This is where you may have noticed, listeners, that Simon and I, from 1 through 7, are in agreement. I can assure you this isn't how it goes for most of the other rankings, but as you'll see from here, things get quite different.
Yeah, so kicking it off with the number 8 spot, I have Michael Leisha ranked at number 8. So who do you have there, mate?
This is my boy this season in regards a value pick in the draft. I like the upside of Blake Austin versus a lot of these non 80-minute hookers who've not yet shown anything.
Blake Austin, really?
Yeah, to justify where I'm going with that, obviously the dual eligibility helps, but I can just see the Pete's, Leisha, Clydesdale types, trundling their way on through 40-odd tackles if on a good week. If in the 60 minutes they're not, either their team are attacking, they're not all that busy, you're going to, 37, 40 points will happen semi-regularly, I believe. Whereas a Blake Austin, I think you're going to get a guy on the ball playing for a team who's probably going to have to throw it around a little bit. And I think his upside there for me just means that I put him ahead of all those blokes.
Yeah, fair enough. Just for one, I did not rank Blake Austin, so that sort of goes to show what I think of him. But every man for his own. Just to justify my ranking of Leisha, Michael Leisha, I should say. I think we saw last year, and actually previous years, Desi loves having that 180-minute hooker. So I'm of the belief that Leisha will see good minutes there in the Dogs pack. He's anyone who's followed Lisha in the New South Wales Cup and under 20s knows that this kid can play footy. He's a good player, and I'm happy to take the risk on Michael Lisha as my 8th ranked hooker, because if he does get the 80 minutes, obviously round 1 teams will be important to see where Moses and Bio lies.
Oh yeah, he's the big one. Obviously, and I'll be honest, I've done this ranking with the basis that I think at least to begin the year, I imagine Mbai will be there, but obviously this gets flipped on its head, and mate, Lisha, with 80 minutes, I think I'd probably sneak him ahead of Jake Friend in this ranking, just if he starts the season at 80, because that means Desi must have a lot of confidence.
Yeah, I think. Oh, well, I'm optimistic that Desi will think that way. So even so, I'd take a 60-minute Michael Lisha over a lot of these guys that rank below him. So number 8's a spot for me.
Okay. So yeah, I've got Lisha, the next one down. Who's yours there, mate?
Okay, so the next one down on my list at number 9, I've got a very contentious one here. I've gone with Ryan Hinchcliffe.
Oh.
At number 9, yeah, I've gone with Ryan Hinchcliffe. I take it you're not a fan?
No, mate. He for me just defines a guy that almost possesses no upside and can even sometimes go missing work rate wise from previous years. He obviously gets the opportunity with Cam out with what looks reported to be 4 weeks. That's fair enough. He'll get you off to a good start, but he's just a guy you don't want rostered from that point on.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I see where you're coming from. I just think in the first few weeks of the season, he's really going to make his weight in gold with Smith out. I'm optimistic that he'll see the really good minutes early on in the season and also over the Origin period. I've got him ranked above Matt Ballon, Michael Ennis, Nathan Peets, Adam Clydesdale, and Kieran Mosley. So, in reading those names below him, I don't see too many guys outside of Peets and arguably Mosley as well who really have much upside themselves. Matt Ballon ranked below him, I think, is only 45 points. I think Hinchcliffe can probably beat that.
I don't have any argument against most of those blokes. I think the one that you've missed there for me is Clydesdale, with the talk from Rick Stone that he's going to start the season at 60, but he does view him as an 80-minute player as the year rolls on. I think that, for me, I find it very hard, even with your theory, to put Hinchcliffe ahead of Clydesdale for that reason. Because I think Clydesdale, for the run home, if he does end up proving he's an 80-minute player, you'd rather have him over Hinchcliffe quite comfortably.
Yeah, that's fair enough too. I wouldn't disagree with that. No way. Clydesdale was a guy I initially left out of my rankings. Anyone who's made these ranking lists before know that you're bound to miss a guy here and there. But in saying that, yeah, I don't know. I just like I like Hinchcliffe's start to the season. I think he might go all right on the down low.
All right, mate. So that's that'll be definitely a wait and see one, and we'll enjoy viewing that as the season rolls on. So just moving on down, mate. So I snuck Pete's in my number 10 slot. What have you got in there?
Yeah, as I said before, I've got Matt Ballon in at 10. The reason I've got Ballon above Pete's there is I just know that Ballon will get 80 minutes, whereas Isaac de Gois lingers at the Eels for Nathan Peets. Peets had a great season last year, I know, but I still felt like he was a bit reliant on those attacking stats, a lot of tries. I think I'll take the 80-minute player in Matt Ballon over Peets this season.
This is one of my things, mate. That's the way I like to construct my teams. When I'm going further down the rankings, I'll trump the upside guy over the stable. 45 plus that Ballon gives you. I've got Ballon ranked all the way down at 17, which is probably a bit too harsh in hindsight. Yep. But the guys in this bracket here, Pete's, if he somehow does, earn his way to 80 as he coming back from injury, he's only got to beat out Isaac de Gois. Not a fan of what he does at all, to be honest.
No one's ever been a fan of Isaac de Gois' work. He's always lingered. That's the problem.
But yeah, just for those reasons, like my ranking of, my Pete's at 10, Clydesdale at 11.
Hey. Oh, really? I thought our hangout must have been like time, must have gone over time or something. Yeah, it would have recorded the whole thing. Yeah, it should have. Like, there's only one spot there where think, um, you Can you remember what you were talking about just then? Unusual, isn't it? Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Oh, that was going well. Yeah. No, I'm with you there. That's good. I liked it. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. What I like about like when you and I disagree big on a player, like I'm happy for us to like say, "Oh, mate, you're mad," like that sort of thing, because people will automatically jump on. They'll choose a side, and that's what gets them listening. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then when you said Austin, I was like, Blake Austin, really? Yeah, no, that's really good. Have you got a So now that that hangout's finished, where's the audio gone? Have you got it saved somewhere now, or how have they given it to you? Oh, yeah, definitely. That's so random. Nah. Well, that was really good then, because like we'd almost gotten through all the hookers then. Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, it was awesome. I liked it. Yeah, more about that. Oh, the chain. No, it's just there was one bit there where I heard the bus coming along, and I was like, oh shit, I've got to like try and wrap up what I'm saying really quick before it pulls up right in front of the house. I'm like, oh shit, the bus is here. No, I didn't even hear it. Oh, no, that's crazy. What are the chances? Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure that the hangout would be saved somewhere. On It'd be saved somewhere. When you log back in, you surely be able to find it. Uh, I do have uni on. I was coming at a time. I can't quite remember what time I have uni on. Right. Oh, look what time we've got uni on Friday. So I'll just put it on speed. Hang on. I'll find my uni timetable. So tomorrow I've got uni. Basically all day from 11 until 4.
On Thursday or
Thursday.
Wednesday? Thursday, okay.
Yeah. And then tomorrow you said it's no good.